All right, folks, welcome back to Kings of Opinion, episode 82. I got Big Ern here. Say hello.
Hello, guys.
No wonder today he's nursing some, I guess, an ailment on his arm. We don't know what's going on yet, but we wish him the best of luck, so hopefully we get to see him next week. However, we do have his picks, even though it's probably better off that he didn't pick as bad as he's doing. But we're all pretty much doing bad, except for Ern. Yeah.
Wanderer's actually been doing well. He's been mixed match, but he had a good week this week.
Okay, good. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So were you on the ride home? Did you happen to catch any of the fan on the way home today from work?
Yeah.
Did you catch the Christmas lights shenanigans?
Yes.
So I wasn't gonna really talk about it because I don't believe in paying somebody to put up your Christmas lights. I feel like that's to get into the spirit of Christmas. I do agree with them though that it should be after Thanksgiving. I do it immediately after Thanksgiving on Black Friday.
Right.
But to spend upwards of $3,500 to rent Christmas lights and whatever balloons and whatever fixtures or whatever, and to put it up is crazy to me.
Yeah. It must be nice to be able to afford that.
Right, but it doesn't seem like he can. He was willing to pay $500, Evan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he could afford it, but then, there are certain things in life that even when you can afford it, it's still...
You probably shouldn't.
Right.
Now, it made me think, right? Because they were missing one of their big points is after you spend that much money, you have to tip them as well. And then people were calling in, and I wanted to call in, but every time I do, I get the busy signal. It's almost annoying. Like, they should have 100 lines, and maybe they do, and that's just so many people call. But I was like, I was going to lose my thought. But thankfully, I was 5 minutes away from home, so I remembered my thought. So they were saying that you still got to tip these guys because it's dangerous, right? Like, they could fall off the roof and whatnot. My counter to Evan to help him out would be very simple. If they fell off your roof, who on earth do you think they're suing? Right? So, unless they sign a waiver saying, if I get hurt while I'm putting up your lights, I'm not going to sue. Because remember, you have homeowners insurance for, liability and this, that, and the other. So, even if they sue you, they're just going after the insurance company anyway.
Yeah,
but then
your insurance is going to go up. You're going to get dropped. You're going to get this, that.
Agreed. You're going to have to search for stuff. So, I'll give you, if I had that money, which I do not have that money, but if I was willing to get them on my roof. And that's to say, I'm sure there's different things. If I don't want you on my roof, you're not putting lights on my roof, right? Maybe I just want it in the windows in the front, like this, depending on what kind of house you have. But if you're on the roof and you fall off, or there's a chance that you could fall off because of whatever reason, it's an angled roof, there's this, there's that. If they don't sign a waiver, they're not getting up on that roof. Or if they agree to sign even the simplest of forms where if you give me an X amount of tip and something happens to me, the tip covers that. Then I'd be okay with tipping. Otherwise, for that amount of money, I don't care what you're doing, you're not going to tip. Because if you happen to fall off the roof, or let's say, maybe just off the ladder, maybe it's only 5 feet, and you land on your shoulder, and maybe hurt your shoulder or something like that, you're going to go after me regardless if I give you a tip or not.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not tipping if I have to pay $3,500 to put up lights.
And I agree. If I was, that should be built in somehow. There's no way you could tell me, and they're literally only doing, I would assume, a day's worth of work. They probably have a couple guys.
Yeah, it's a
because
couple of hours. What do you think?
Right, that's what I'm saying. But at most, let's say you have a big house, I don't know, you're a famous celebrity or anything like that, so you got to spend a couple days or even just a day. You get more guys out there. But and let's keep it real, the more property you have, the more stuff they're putting up, the more it's going to cost.
Right.
But let's just go up to $3,500. In a couple hours or even a day, you're making $3,500 to put Christmas lights up?
Yeah, and I guess, you go by the argument that some of the guys will make, if you go to a hotel, you still tip the people. So, yeah, the argument has to be made that are the guys that are putting up the lights the ones that own the company, or are they just workers? Because then it's a little bit of a different story. But if I'm paying a company $3,500 to put up Christmas lights, and you're just the worker, and you're making, a small enough salary where you need to be getting tipped for it, then you need to go take that up with your boss, not with the person that you're charging $3,500.
Right. And what would you tip them on a $3,500 bill? Like, let's go for a restaurant. You spend $100 on a dinner, which is low nowadays. Let's not get it twisted, just for easy math. And I'd like to say we're decent tippers, right? You know, from our shenanigans out
Even
at
if
Fallon's.
it's 20%, you know, it's $20. You're gonna give 20% of $3,500?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. Like, what are you doing? Like, they might look at you funny if you just give them $100. So let's say there's a couple guys, you give each guy $100.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even when you have a plumber come here and he flips you a bill of $500-$600, you're giving him $20 because he's the plumber, like whatever. That's a little different. You're talking about $3,500. What are we doing here, folks? Yeah. Anyway, that was my little rant. I had to get that out there just in case. And you know what's funny? I want to try and see if I tried hitting him up on his Twitter, and I guess he responds to certain people. I don't know. Like, he doesn't talk about it too much, or at least I don't hear him. But I wanted him to. I hope he could hear this, or we could send him a link to his Twitter and just listen to the first 4 minutes. You don't have to listen to the whole show. That's a good excuse for you. This homeowners insurance and suing and all that. If you decide to do it, you should look into that kind of avenue for at least your reasoning for not tipping them. And then if you actually got past the whole part that you're supposed to be doing it yourself. Now I get it. Every year it's a struggle, right, to put up these Christmas lights. Sorry if you have a lot and you know, or whatever, but it gets you in the spirit. So
yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would like to think that people that do put up Christmas lights put it up because they enjoy it.
Correct.
And like you said, it helps them get into the spirit.
Correct.
People that are paying $3-4 grand to put up Christmas lights are just spoiled people.
Right.
Probably don't work for their money.
Right, and you know, it's funny because I know it's not even Thanksgiving and we're already talking about Christmas, and I apologize, but it just made me think of the other stuff. Like over here in Hollis and in Whitestone, they have these houses that have lights everywhere.
Yeah,
and they're on like the Great American Light Fight sometimes, or all the,
yeah.
you know, like you could tell those people enjoy doing it, and they start doing it in like October, which I totally respect, and we've gone to see it at times. So it's very nice, and we appreciate those guys and people that do that all around the country. So
and if
that's
they're
great.
paying somebody, what are they paying?
Right, exactly. Well,
$40,000?
they definitely do not, because you see, if you've never seen the show before, I forget what channel it's on. It might be on ABC, the Great American Light Fight. These people, like, I think that's all they do from August to Christmas time is put up these lights or build stuff for these lights. Well, but anyway, that's, I guess, the good news of the show. The bad news of the show is we had, I guess it's not breaking news for us now, it's a couple hours earlier, that Joe Douglas was fired as the GM for the Jets. So bad goes to worse. Now, granted, he didn't do much while I was here. Like, he had a lot of good drafts and all this other stuff, but it just didn't translate onto the field.
What was it that I heard them talking about on the radio that apparently it was said that he has had no power within the team for like the last 9-10 months? Or
Yes, I guess since January. I don't know why they were saying that, because I caught part of it, but I missed why like that was happening. And then one of the callers on the Fan actually said that if he didn't have any power, then who did the deal for Hassan Reddick?
Right.
I know you heard that, because that was like right after that.
Yeah.
I guess they were just, maybe Woody was just taking charge, maybe, and just not letting them do stuff, but that doesn't make any sense because the draft was after that. So who was drafting the people?
Right. And then if he had no power, why was he here for the last 9-10 months?
Agreed. You probably should have fired him in January and called it quits, right? Or what was it? I guess going 9 months back, 10 months back. You're looking at February, March.
Or if that, when you fired Saleh at least, why didn't you fire Douglas then?
I guess because you needed someone for a few more weeks, or maybe they thought, well, actually, that's probably easier to explain. You fired Saleh hoping it would give you a spark, and then that you would, I think they fired him before, what was it, the Patriot game? And then they still
Yeah,
lost?
but that means that Douglas still already had no power for the last 7 months.
The only thing I could think of is they're being sarcastic in a way, saying that he didn't have power because Rodgers is running the show.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Other than that, I don't know how you could keep a GM unless you're just Woody Johnson, just telling him what buttons to press. You know what I mean? But then that would still be through Aaron Rodgers, which makes me even more nervous now, because next year, what are you going to do? Like, if you cut these guys cords now, they said they're going to be looking for a GM. Right now, they have a guy that's interim GM, but he's going to be actively looking for a GM. So basically, the guy you put in charge is not going to be looking for his replacement. Who the hell are you going to get that's out there that has some sort of a vision for the Jets? Because I'll tell you right now, the season's already over. It's been over. I'm actually nervous that they're keeping Rodgers for next year, which at first I was kind of okay with, but now you fired Douglas. You're going to get a new GM there that's going to have to worry about Rodgers for a year. You're going to have to get a new head coach. It's going to have to be a veteran head coach. And at this point, I really don't care who it is, just as long as it gets him.
Listen, they might not announce it right away, but they're going to have to pick their next GM sooner than later. You know, they'll probably have something worked out, and they just won't announce it because of the season and probably for tampering and all that stuff. But they're going to have the GM before, because they're going to want the GM to pick his own coach, right? Because who's going to take that job if they're going to tell you this is who your coach is going to be, you know?
Right. Well, yeah, they're just a complete disaster right now. And, you know, Joe Douglas had 6 years to right the ship. And you know what? It's a shame because the team is very talented. I just think with what's been going on, it's just hampering the team. Like, they got good players all over. They're just not playing to their potential right now. Yeah. So now you just need a head coach to get them to play to their potential. If some of them are even still here, because you might have to sell a GM and a head coach. You're like, listen, you're going to have to keep Rodgers for a year, maybe, but you could do whatever you want with everybody else. And then maybe a GM was like, well, listen, we got to get a lot of this money off the books. So they might trade all the good talent. And that means like Breece Hall, Quentin Williams, Garrett Wilson. Like, they might do that for like.
Well, Garrett Wilson, I've heard that they're, you know, not Garrett Wilson, I'm sorry, Sauce Gardner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's having a down year and, you know, nothing compared to his rookie season. The thing with that is that he's still under his rookie contract, so he's not costing you a lot.
Right.
So do you want to
But his rookie contract is coming up soon. That's why, like, they were saying if you finish, like, on the draft board, like, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, to trade, I forget who it would be right now. Is it Jacksonville, maybe?
Up to get the quarterback?
To get the quarterback that you want. And you would have to maybe trade, like, a Sauce Gardner to give them to the Jags, and maybe trade a couple picks or whatever you'd have to do to get that done.
The thing that I don't get is there a quarterback coming out that you're willing to trade a Sauce Gardner and your 3rd or 4th pick overall to get that to move up to the number 1?
Supposedly there's only 2 this year. So
Deion's son and
whatever, I don't even know the other guy, but supposedly there's 2. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you would do. Like, it's a very rough decision, which is why I can't even see them like parting ways with Rodgers. Because then, what quarterback are you gonna have? Tyrod Taylor for a year, and then even if you do trade up, you're gonna have this rookie quarterback. You're gonna throw him into the fire like you did Darnold and Wilson. So, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind sacrificing a Gardner to move up and just take a chance at whoever. I don't want the Sanders guy, like Deion Sanders' son, like, for whatever reason. I don't know much about college, so I'm not gonna. You're going off a name. Like, I don't want to touch that. So whoever the other quarterback is, take him, sit him on the bench for a year, have Tyrod Taylor and him around Aaron Rodgers, and just see what you can learn that next year. And then hopefully, like, because that's what a good franchise does for the most part. You know what I mean? Mahomes sat for almost 4 years. Rodgers sat for 4 years. Love sat for 3 years. You know what I mean? So it's very few and far between that you get the C.J. Strouds and the Jaden Daniels of the world that just go right in and fit to the system.
And that's out of necessity, right? Because they don't even have the option to sit those guys and let them learn for a year. They had no choice.
Right. Well, we didn't either with Darnold and Wilson. It's just apparently we're terrible at picking quarterbacks.
Well,
you know,
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe it's just that they didn't have the right coaching staff around them. Darnold seems to be doing okay now. Geno Smith seems to be doing okay now.
I mean, Geno Smith was, I was like 28 years old when he was with the Jets.
Yeah, I get it, but still, it's still the same concept.
He's a late bloomer, no big deal. No, but you're not wrong. Like, these guys did it somewhere else. It's almost like you got to get someone that can handle the pressure of being a New York anything, right? That's what we always say, right?
Let alone the quarterback.
Correct. You know, and we can even switch gears for a minute and go to this Juan Soto thing with all this bullshit we're hearing these last couple weeks. You know what I mean? Like, you know he can play in New York. That's why Steve Cohen wants him. He's like, he's only gonna have to go to Queens. It's not like neither team can get Soto to go somewhere else. Like, we shouldn't be outbid by Philly, Dodgers, Red Sox, Blue Jays, nowhere else.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because those guys saw that here, and that's why he's so appealing to them. Because he's like, well, I mean, if he could do it in New York, he could do it in Philly, he could do it in Toronto, he could do it in Boston. And now they're thinking about their tandem, because we had our tandem of Soto and Judge. They're thinking about Harper and Soto, and Vlad Guerrero and Soto, and Devers and Soto. And
Ohtani.
I don't even want to talk about the Dodgers because they're stacked. I just think they're in it just to be in it, just to drive the price up. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, it's almost one of those intangibles that if you got to do your homework, and the Jets, like, they need I don't even care that they were saying John Gruden, Rex Ryan. I throw Vrabel in the mix. Like, I don't know why no one's not talking to Vrabel. Maybe he doesn't want to coach anymore.
Yeah, it's strange.
Because he was an excellent coach with the Titans. They didn't spend a lot of money. They were always like fighting for the division in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they cut ties with him last year, and now I don't even know like what's his deal is. Like, why is no one bringing this guy up? And he worked for Belichick too, which is even more impressive. So you know he has some of his like tutelage and all that stuff. Like, why would you not go after someone like that?
I mean, maybe it's just that he's not a liked person, you know, around the league, because he's not even an assistant anywhere.
Well, no, he just got fired last year, so he's doing like the Bill Belichick thing. He's, you know, taking a year off. Who knows? Maybe just no one wanted to give him the time of day. I don't know what it is, but it's, you search him and nothing even comes up about him. There's like nothing going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, doubling back to the football stuff. I was at the Jet game with Amish on Sunday.
Yeah, how did that come about?
He just had the tickets and he's like, "You want to go to the Jet game?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So we went to the Jet game, and we took an Uber there, which was fine.
Wow.
Right. Well, it was with me, him, and Devang, and we went, and we get there in like an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. Drops us off. We walk in. We go to our seating area, and we go right to the Miller Club. And I'd never been in a club at MetLife or any football stadium. It was nice. It was huge. Like, I'm going to put it on our Instagram and our TikTok or whatever, but it was huge. There was food all over the place. We had this nice little filet mignon sandwich with some cheese and some like kind of sauce on it. It's fantastic, right? And when we get to our seats, I think it was 237, so second level, right at the 40-yard line. Could see the whole field.
Wow.
Nice, right? And then the game started. And it was awful. Like, the first half was boring. I'm like, they're losing, like, I think it was like 13-0 at the time. I think they might have scored before half. Like, I don't even remember. But then they stop them, when they come back out after halftime. We take the lead. Then they take the lead. Then we take the lead again. Then we even take more of a lead because we kick a field goal. So now we're up like 27-22. And like, all right, no big deal. They just gave up a touchdown, like early in the fourth quarter. And I'm sitting there, and it's like, just run the clock, run the clock, run the clock. They run the clock down to like a minute 45 seconds. It was like 4th and 2, but like a shorter 2, not a full 2. And I'm like, I couldn't help but think. I was telling Devang, I'm like, dude, if they kick this field goal, they're gonna lose. Like, You're 3-7. Like, either go for it, let them know you're going for it, do something, like have some kind of play ready to go, or like fake the field goal and just try, you know what I mean? Like, direct snap it to somebody. I don't know. Figure it out, man. Like, I shouldn't be able to do this. And sure as shit, they don't go for it. Aaron Rodgers said he thought he was gonna go. Like, they were talking about it earlier that they were gonna go for it, and then the field goal team comes out and whatever. So miscommunication there. So they kick the field goal. I'm like, all right, cool. We're up by 5, right? Up by 5. Up by 5. Anthony Richardson looked like Patrick Mahomes on the last drive of the game.
I know.
They let him just drive, like, it was like 3rd and 12 or something like that on the other side of the field, and he just chucks a ball up, and I don't even remember it could have been a Pittman, I don't even know. Guy was wide open. It was right at the 50-yard line. I'm like, oh my God. And right then and there, I was like, we might as well go now. Get ready, get to the train. You know what I mean? Because, like, this is ridiculous. And they lost. And then they had, like, I want to say they had, like, 45 seconds left around. And they start marching down the field. They get almost to the 50-yard line. So I'm like, okay, like, maybe we could kick it. Like, we need, like, another 10 yards just to chance a field goal, right? Drop pass, like a run. They have no timeouts left. And earlier I was telling Devang, like, this timeout is gonna burn them if the game's close. And sure as shit, if we would have had a timeout, they could have regrouped, maybe did something else. And then Aaron Rodgers gets sacked, puts them back 10 more yards. That was like it was second down. And then it's third and like whatever, 18. And he throws a pass, and I don't remember if it was like incomplete or it was caught just like yard shy of the first down or whatever. And then the game was pretty much over after that. And then the debacle happened. Like after the loss, it was 28-27. I'm like, now we got to go on this train. Like, I've never been on the New Jersey train before that I can remember. Maybe like a long ass time ago, but we were like a herd of cattle. They were just throwing us like, you ever see when you take the cattle out and there's like the fences and you're slapping them and everything like that, and they're just running to go into the bigger cage or whatever? That's what they were doing, like walking around the stadium like, oh, you need the train, go this way. Oh, can't we just go here? Like, no, you got to go around. Like there were security guards just protecting the barriers. And then finally you get to it and you got to curl in, and then like, it was weird. Like then it was like a big pen, and like you're trying to like make your way, and they're like, oh, keep moving to the right, keep moving to the right. And then I see this security guard comes with like this red rope, and he's like, move to the right, there's more room. And I'm like, yo, everyone go to the right. And he literally closes this line behind us, meaning like basically like they estimated, I guess, how many people get on the train, and we just made the first train. They put it right behind us. I'm like, whoo, thank God. So we got on the first train, and then we went to Secaucus, got on another train. Then from there, we went to LIR. We had to wait 30 minutes for a train.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then we get on LIR, and that took like a good 20, 30 minutes, and we finally get to New Hyde Park, and we finally get home. It was like, oh, dude, I didn't get home till 7:30. I mean, we did go and have dinner. After, like when we got back here in the neighborhood, thank God we didn't stay out in the city because I would have killed myself. But it was, like, I told them, I was like, next time I'll drive, guys. I'd rather sit in the parking lot for an hour and then get out and then just take an hour to drive home and be in peace, like with my AC or my heated seat and my music. Wow, is it crazy.
Too much.
But you could tell I don't take the train much, I'll tell you that. But so I think did the Wonder pick the Lions last week as one of his picks? Because right now, you should just only be betting on the Lions.
I know. No, nobody picked the Lions last week.
Wow. Okay, because I thought he mentioned, maybe we talked about it, because the Lions just smoked the Jaguars, 52-6.
Yeah, it's funny. How did none of us pick?
The spread was like 12.5. So like we stayed away from, like, how could you, you know? And the Jaguars just came off of, I think it was a win the week before, or at least they played better. I don't really remember, but that was the only other football game I got to watch on Sunday because I was traveling to like Guam or from Guam. So that was the night game, and it was crazy. It was unbelievable, that game. But it just like Goff is just zoned in, and like matter of fact, that wasn't the night game. The Chargers and the Bengals game. We'll talk about that in a second. But I guess I was getting notifications on my phone because of my fantasy. That's what it was. And
the Lions offense is just...
and there's so many guys that could beat you. Like this week it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Thank God for him. Because my fantasy was doing bad, but I was in a shootout and I only beat the guy. He scored 160 points and I wound up scoring 177. But like, if I didn't have him score 40 and Burrows score 40, I would have been asked out and I would have lost. But I'm still in first place, 15-7, going into a big bye week next week, which half my team's on vacation. So like that's going to be a tough week for me. But I'm actually going against my friend who, as of right now, I think he's doing the same thing I'm doing. He's not going to make any moves and just see how many points he can get and see if he could like.
You said that last week.
Yeah,
you had a bunch of people on buys too. Right?
Yeah, see if he could just take a chance. Like he might pick up a guy or two, but we'll see what happens with that. I just need to go 1-1. So if I could beat him, I think I could be all right, and then I'll make the final push for the playoffs. But that Bengal game, man, wow. And I think we picked that game, me and you, right?
It's
Last week?
hard to. Yeah. Yep.
And we lost that terribly because
Yeah.
they were getting points, weren't they? The Bengals?
Yeah.
But-
1.5.
Right, but they lost by the last touchdown because their kicker that got them to the Super Bowl can't kick a damn field goal, not once, but twice.
Well, what a strange week it was this week for kickers, right? They were missing field goals and extra points all over the place this week.
I know.
I've never seen anything like it.
It was insane. And the funny thing is I turned that game off at halftime, the night game, because I was like, the Bengals getting rocked. I think it was like 24-3. And I'm like, now they've to their credit, they've come back before, but at that point I was so exhausted from the day, I was like, I'm just gonna watch TV in bed and then pass out. And then all of a sudden I turned the game on just to check it before I go to bed. And I looked at my fantasy and I'm like, Burrows has 30-something points. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I look at the score, I'm like, it's 27, I think it was like 27, 24 or something like that. And then the Chargers tied it up, and they were going back and forth. I'm like, this is a crazy-ass game. They came all the way back to tie them up. And
Yeah, you gotta feel for Joe Burrow.
I'll tell
If
you,
the Bengals defense did anything this year, they'd be amazing.
yeah,
Guys
because,
are scoring 30 points a game and losing every game.
yeah. And you know what the funny thing is? The Jets can't even score 30 points.
Right.
But yet they're scoring 30 points every game, but letting up 34 or 33 or 32, you know what I mean?
I think I saw some crazy stat that they got like 5 games where they've scored over 30 points and lost the ball.
Yeah. They lost, matter of fact, I think, did you say 5 games or 4?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 4. They lost 4 games by 16 points altogether. And it was all like 34-31, 35-32. It was insane. Like, you know what I would do if I was the new Jets GM? Just throwing it out there. Call Cincinnati. And be like, what do you want for Joe Burrow? Like, get him while he's young, bro. Don't wait till they don't want to play with him anymore. You know what I mean? Because not that he would want to come to New York. I get it. Like, nobody really want to do that. Like, you'd have to literally make him the mayor of New York in order to get him on this team. But maybe he's just tired of putting up all these numbers, and his defense, like, for the most part, sucked. Because you know what the funny thing was about that game? They only let up 3 points in the second half, the Bengals did, until they gave up that touchdown. So the defense held in the second half until the offense missed 2 field goals, and then that was it, you know? And it was a shame, but...
Well, you never know. They're going to have a lot of decisions to make too, right? They're Higgins, right?
And Chase. Well, I think Chase got his contract last year. But yeah, Higgins is up next. That's why they let go of Tyler Boyd this past year. But yeah, I mean, I would see if you could get him. I'd give him like the next 3 or 4 number ones. They could build the defense and get a quarterback. We won't need that anymore. Our defense is still kind of decent. Maybe they would play better for a young quarterback. You keep Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. You know, I'll even give him Sauce Gardner. Like, I'll give you 2 number ones, Sauce Gardner, and a number 2 and a number 3 in the next 3 years. See you later. And here's a safety that you could have. Maybe it'll make you better. You know what I mean? And then use the rest of your picks or trade some other guys away, like a Riddick, get a 3rd-round pick. You know, whatever you can do to stack picks, and then just build your defense and give them a good defense. Instead, make it work with what you got. You know what I mean? Sign a couple free agents here and there, and that's it. But I would love to get Joe Burrow. He's such a stud to me. Like, he might suck in the beginning, but he just doesn't stop, and he just keeps going. You know, he's got great wide receivers. Jamar Chase is what makes him really good, too. Like, he's a really good wide receiver. They complement. They used to play together in college, but they complement each other really well. But yeah, do you want to talk about your Cowboys?
No, please.
All right, so I didn't even bother watching the game. I'm not gonna lie. I just know they got rocked.
They're a complete disaster.
Are they worse than the Jets?
Neck and neck.
Right. Which one's more of a circus show?
1A and 1B.
Yeah, I agree. I guess it's just depending on the week. You know what I mean? Like this week it might be Dallas because they only scored 10 points and the Jets scored 28, but next week it could be the Jets.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even bother watching it. I had nothing really on the line last night, so I was like, I'm not going to bother. I didn't even check the score. I just had a feeling that Dallas was going to lose. All right, so give us what our standings are as of this week, and then we'll go for the picks.
So you and I were both 2-2 for the week, and Wanderer won the week at 3-1.
Oh, wow.
And the race is
Tightening up.
bunching up. I have taken the lead.
Well, you had the lead last week, by a loss. Like I had one more game.
right. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
So I'm now 24-19. You're 23-21, and the Wanderer is 20-23. So he's climbing out of the dungeon.
Wow.
And
Very close.
You finally have your bye week coming up. So
I know. I felt so good about it. I'm like, I can't stand picking the Jets anymore. I think next year we're gonna get rid of that. We're just gonna pick 4 games. I don't think I can pick with the Jets anymore.
yeah, that might be a good idea.
Right, and Dallas ain't going nowhere next year either.
Right.
So, all right. Do you have the list for my picks?
I do. Oh, you want me to?
Yeah, that'd be nice. If you want, you could start us off with your picks.
All right. So I am going first with the Steelers, who are facing the.
All right, good stuff. They're
Yeah.
facing the nobodies. The Browns, maybe? Are they facing the Browns?
They are facing
On
the
Thursday
Browns
night?
on Thursday night.
Okay.
And the Steelers are red hot, and talk about a team that seems like they have no one, and they're just doing it. That's when you know a head coach is a head coach and makes a big difference. Tomlin is just year after year after year after year, and Nick, I guess that's where you can make that comparison that, it does matter who's coaching a guy, because Russell Wilson, basically was like
Left for
the
dead.
laughing stock of
Yeah.
the league last year, and now look at this year. It's like they're 8-2. They look great. They just beat the Ravens, who I thought were going to be pretty much unstoppable.
And
after-
all on field goals, by the way.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going with the Steelers. They're giving 3.5 points in Cleveland. I don't think it should. I mean, this is where you'll get the upset, but whatever. We'll take our chances.
Of course.
Next, I'm going with the Vikings over the Bears. Vikings are giving 3.5 in Chicago. I think the Chicago's are another disaster of a team, just like my Cowboys and your Jets.
Yeah, I agree.
Next, I am going with the Lions. So, little spoiler alert. Last week, none of us picked the Lions. This week, we all are picking the Lions.
Yeah, that's not great for us.
Lions are
either.
playing the Colts in Indy, and they're giving 7.
So I gotta hope you go 2-2, and all my picks hit in order for me just to make up ground.
Yeah, and lastly, as moronic as it might be, I am going with the Cowboys. They're on the road, so maybe we'll have a miracle because they're finally not at home, and they've lost 5 straight at home.
And what's the spread?
They're getting 10.5 points in Washington.
I mean, that's a big spread. So I would pick that. So I almost did pick that, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll lose by 30, but we'll take our chances. You want me to give?
Yeah, because you have the spreads. I only have his teams I
Yeah,
picked.
so Wanderers taking the Texans, giving 8. They're playing the Titans. Again, he's taking the Lions. He's taking the Broncos, who have been looking pretty decent of late too.
Yeah, Bo Nix went off this week.
Yeah, and they've won, I think, like 4 games in a row or something
Yeah,
like that. So,
yeah. They're 6-5.
yeah, they're playing the Raiders in Vegas, giving 5.5, and then he's taking the Commanders, giving 10.5 against the Cowboys.
So he's taking the Commanders too. You're both taking. Well, you're taking the Cowboys. He's taking the
Right,
Commanders. Well, good for Wonder. He's picking with his brain, not his heart, I guess, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going with the Vikings, giving 3.5 to the Bears. Like you said, the Bears are another one of those Jet, Cowboy, Panther teams, so they can't really do anything right. And Darnold's been solid all year, so I can't see why they can't go on the road and play the Bears like they would if they were in Minnesota. This one was a weird one for me because I wanted to pick so many different games, but these spreads were so high, I just couldn't do it. So I was going with the Cards versus the Seahawks. The Seahawks had a nice little upset against the 49ers last week.
Yeah.
So if they're only giving a point, I could see this game being competitive. Plus, they're at home. That's always tough.
Yeah.
So whether, like, all they got to do is basically win by more than a point, and I got it. So I'm looking for them to get a field goal or something like that or whatever, or, you know, touchdown late and they're up a couple points and we'll be good there. Even though the Cardinals haven't been as terrible in, like, the last couple years.
They've been playing well lately, too.
Yeah, they're 6-4, so it's a little scary. But this is a divisional game. This is a big game for Seattle because they're behind the Cardinals right now at 5-5. And I don't know. I think the Arizona is leading the division right now.
Yeah.
I'd like to say.
Yep.
So strange. And then I also picked the Lions over the Colts. I mean, if you look back their last couple of games, they're scoring 50 plus points, or at least over 40. I don't see how the Colts keep up with them scoring wise. So to me, I think that line, unless they know something we don't, I mean, the Lions like playing in a dome. The Colts play in a dome. So that's.
And the Lions' defense has been.
Even without Aiden Hutchinson.
Right.
You know, and good news for him, he's already been, like, walking and everything in the water and everything like that. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's rehabbing, so who knows what that's going to be. But I think that spread is low right now. Like I said, 7.5.
Yeah, a little deceiving, right?
Yeah, like the Colts just played the Jets and barely won. Like, I don't see it. Like, maybe they think Anthony Richardson's going to be a problem for them, but I don't know. So I took them.
And we know the deal with Richardson. He can, on any given play, go down. So.
Not only that, at any given play, you can throw an interception or fumble the ball, and the Lions look like they feast on that.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this is another, you know, no-brainer for the 9-1 Lions. Which, by the way, I didn't even realize they're 9-1.
Yep.
They have the same record as the Chiefs.
Yeah. And who's their only loss?
Was it the Cowboys?
No.
They beat the Cowboys.
Didn't they lose to the Jets?
No. I don't think so.
Why do I think their only loss was to the Jets?
No. But anyway, those are my picks. So right now, I'm 2 games behind you. I'm 23-21, and you're 24-19.
Yeah.
Okay, 23-21. So yeah, I'm a game and a half behind you. That's terrible.
Oh, they lost to the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers.
Oh yeah, that was when the Buccaneers were good in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, week 2.
Yeah. So they won. So week 2, they've pretty much won 8 straight games. All right, awesome.
So they've scored since week 4. The Lions have scored 42 points, 47 points, 31, 52, 24, 26, and 52.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. They got to be lead the league in scoring. Have to, right?
I would.
Either them or the Ravens, because it's not Kansas City, because they don't score as much. They just win ball games. But yeah, all right. So with that, I think we took care of all that nonsense. The TV stuff. I was talking to the Wanderer earlier today, and for some reason, I thought you guys watched it. I thought it was him, but he said it was you. A show called Borderline, but I was apparently way off.
Yeah, it was a movie, and it was called Borderland.
Oh, it was a movie called Borderland. Who's in that movie?
It's the one with.
Is that Kate Blanchett?
Yes.
I did see that movie. Okay, so after he told me that, I looked it up and I was like, it's not a TV show, it's a movie.
Right.
So
Did you like it?
I don't remember. I saw it when it first came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I don't really remember. It was quirky, is what I remember it being, like odd and like quirky.
Oh, it was a quirky superhero kind of movie.
I got to rewatch it, but I was spending most of my time this past week finishing the Tulsa King, the second season. Did you finish it or no?
I didn't finish it yet, but I've been watching it each week. It was all right. It was entertaining. I thought the first season was better than.
So you saw the whole season? Season 2?
I think I have just the last episode to watch.
Oh, really?
Well, was the.
Don't let me tell you what's happening. Tell me what's the last thing you remember. Because I already screwed you with that other show. I forget what it was.
So what was the last one? I saw when they.
Oh, the penguin. I remember.
Oh, the penguin that was good.
Yeah, I saw that too. I finished that.
That was very good.
Yeah, I finished that. Yeah, everyone liked it. There was nothing. I haven't heard a person yet besides BT say that it was all right. It was good. It was all right. I'm like, come on, dude. It was awesome.
Did you love the last scene?
Yeah, of course. Yep. Now here's the problem with that. I know we just jumped from one show to another. The Tulsaking. We'll get back to. The problem with that is they didn't know if they were gonna have a second season of that, and now people are asking for a second season. And like it's trending on Instagram and all this stuff, so there's a lot of stuff coming out that they're coming out like it's a matter of time, but they're coming out. Remember the Batman movie, Matt Reeves Batman movie with the guy from Twilight, Robert Pattinson. So do you remember the end credit scene with the Joker?
No.
Well, the Joker was one of the end credit scenes, and he was locked up. And if you just Google it, it's a short scene. It's like probably like 20 seconds. But he looks like a nasty looking Joker. Like he looks all messed up and crazy, right? They want to give him a TV show on Max. And then they were saying that the Penguin was so good, and the way they left it off, he should get a second season. And now whoever the writers were for it, I think it was just one writer, to be honest with you. It was just some female, I forget her name. To me, it'd be so easy to write a good second season. Like you shouldn't make it 5 seasons or anything like that. At max, maybe 2 or 3. But I heard that Colin Farrell signed on to do, like, apparently this Batman movie there's a trilogy for it, and he's supposed to be in all 3. You know, so like you could almost have it like intersect with the TV shows, which would be kind of cool and something no one's ever really done.
So they did this Penguin show without knowing if there was going to be more than one season?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they said it was a 9.7 rating out of 10 for the last episode. I mean, probably mostly because of we don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it anyway. The bat signal. But my point being is if you have a second season, like I don't know when you're going to do it because I don't even know when the second Batman movie's coming out or that Joker thing. You have to intertwine those, meaning like so you got the teaser for the Joker in the end of Batman. And basically the first Batman was basically the Penguin was in it. And I forget who he was even fighting. Who's he fighting in that? And I just watched it like a week ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. But the second movie, the Penguin's supposed to be in it. So you're going to see more of the Penguin. But it should be the aftermath from the show. Because the show took place after the movie. It was after, I know who it was. It was the Riddler.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So the Riddler messed up everything. And then that Penguin season literally takes place right after that movie. So now the movie should take place after the Penguin. So the Penguin would then be in that one. You should see him fight Batman. He should probably almost be like the main villain, maybe with somebody else. Maybe by the end the Joker breaks out. Then he's fighting them both, which would then lead into season 2 of the Penguin, season 1 of the Joker. And then the third Batman movie might almost finish it all out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like now he's the underboss. Like he's not the underboss, he is the boss.
He is the boss.
So that could be a fun second season. And then from whatever happens after the second Batman movie, you go into the show to kind of like tie up loose ends. Maybe maybe knocks off the Penguin and someone else takes over. Because the Penguin's signed up for 3, I don't want to say movies, but it said something like 3 installments. Or it said 3 movies, but I just don't know if they're including the shows in it. But that was a great show. I actually liked, skipping back to the beginning, the Tulsaking season 2. Yes, season 1 was better, but the only thing I thought that was dumb, which you haven't seen yet, is the ending of the season. The very last minute. That's the only thing I thought was stupid. But I don't know how much you saw yet. So
It's just that I think the acting is just not great.
well, he's a terrible actor. He's old now.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just gotten worse. Like I think season one, like the acting started out cheesy, and then I think it got better as the season went along. And then season two is just like going backwards. It's just
You
like
think so? I think I don't know. You got to see what you're up to because, like, did you see the part where the Escalade blows up?
no,
So you have like 5 episodes to go, bro.
no. I can't.
Yeah, that was like episode 5, maybe.
The what blow up?
His car, the Escalade that he was driving.
You're talking about when the father was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Once that happened, like all hell starts to break loose.
Yes, I get it, but it's just like the acting is just like between him and the kid whose father got blown up, and the way it's just overboard, I think.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You need to check out the last episode though, because it's wild.
Yeah, I think that's all that I have left.
Yeah, so check it out, and we'll talk about that episode next week, because I really want your take on it, especially the very end of it. What else? Oh, did you finish The Old Man?
I did.
And
Awesome.
yeah, what was awesome?
I just think it's a great show. I like it.
I don't know. Like if it comes out with another season, I'll watch it. I'll do what I did this time and binge, like I'll wait till and binge the thing. And they explained it all right, like how Emily got away and all this other stuff, or Parwana, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I didn't like all of a sudden, like at the end, like all of a sudden she just took over everything. Like first off, that's from my knowledge, that's not normally how they run, right? So that's one. And then all of a sudden, like she went from being like an FBI agent or whatever she was, I think she was an FBI agent, right? To now she's basically running I don't want to call them a terrorist cell, but basically, right? Just not one that messes with, like they mess with their country and not others for right now.
Right.
And then now she has all this influence in the United States because she has this lithium mine or whatever, like. And now we're gonna find out. Well, we found out who that Lou. I want to say Pompelli, but it's not Pompelli. It's something else. But it was him the whole time, and like now you're gonna get like more flashbacks of what he did. It was probably all crazy, wild shit, which could be cool if you write it the right way. But who knows? Like, you know what I mean?
The difference is, like comparing it from show to show, is the acting is just.
Jeff Bridges is a really good actor, dude. Like, I get it. Stallone was never known for his acting. He's an action hero.
Right, and I get it.
You know, it's like putting Arnold Schwarzenegger, that Arnold Schwarzenegger TV show that I loved. I forget what it's even called. Like,
Fubar.
oh, it was Fubar. Yeah.
Whatever happened to that?
I don't know. I guess that was it. Maybe they didn't pick it up. Maybe we should look it up and find out after the show. But
it's like every time he's walking and he's like doing the thing with his arms and his suit jacket, like it's like,
you gotta admit though, he has some dope looking suits.
oh, that he does, and that's him in real life. He's all about fashion. He's all about the way he looks. But it's just like, you know,
like he wears this white suit and it's legit. There's no color. It's head to toe white.
Yeah.
Like he's almost like you gotta throw wings and a halo on him. He's an angel.
He's like trying too hard to play a gangster. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
I think when he plays the actual gangster, when he's like authoritative and tough, he's good at it. It's when he's playing everything else he's bad.
Yeah, it's like, if when he points his finger and he's like, if this was the real mob, I'd have to take you out. It's like,
yeah, some of the things he says are corny. And I have a feeling like he writes some of his own stuff.
Yeah, and I guess that's the point of the show, that's what they're getting at. But it's just like, to me, it's like a little low. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll still watch it. I heard like I don't even know if there's gonna be a third season because I heard in this season he was having trouble with a lot of people on the show. Like he was being a jerk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he was hard to work with basically.
Oh,
so I don't know.
That's surprising to hear.
Yeah, me too. But hopefully they make a third season because the way they left it off, I'm like, I need to see what happens, kind of like, because this is like, you'll see. We'll talk about it next week. Any interest in this landman thing?
I haven't seen it yet, but he's incredible in everything he does too. So I'd like to watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna binge it though. Like I'm gonna wait till it's done. Like I don't want to wait week to week with this nonsense. I just find it funny that it's from the producers or the creators of Yellowstone, which we love, right? But you know, like, can we get a better name for these shows? You got the old man, you got Landman. What are we gonna have? Seaman, and you know, like we already have an Aquaman. Are we gonna have a Seaman that this guy just stays on a boat for the rest of his life or whatever? Like, and you know, does things in the water? Are we gonna have Moon Man? Are we gonna have a show about someone like landing on Mars? Like, what are we doing with the titles of these shows?
That doesn't bother me.
It kind of bothers me, man, because it's like, I know it's two different.
I'm assuming.
Isn't Landman on FX or?
Yes.
Right.
I think.
So you got Old Man on FX, Landman on FX. What are you gonna have? Trainee Man on FX?
I'm assuming with the title being Landman, he's a guy that owns a lot of land wherever the show takes place.
Okay, that's even worse. Like, can you get any lazier? Like, you have these actors that are great, and you have probably a great show. Like, I guarantee you, we're gonna like this show just off of the shows that we do like to watch, right? You can't come up with a more creative name. You got the old man. Guess what? Jeff Bridges is older than dirt. He basically looks like Jesus Christ in this show. Okay, let's name it the old man. Perfect. Then you got this other guy. Well, this guy owns like half of Montana or Oklahoma or whatever. You know what? Perfect. Landman it is. You know, like, what are we doing?
What about Yellowstone? Have you started that yet?
Did it come on?
Oh, I don't know. Did it?
No, I don't. It might have just came. I thought it was November 15th, so it just came on this past week. I'm gonna binge that too because I binged that entire like 4 seasons, whatever it was. So I'm gonna wait for that. Like I'm not gonna watch that every week either. I just started and I had to. I didn't want to do it, but I just started the last season of Cobra Kai.
I never got into that show.
It's really good, and I mean. It gets a little silly at times, but it's teenager stuff. But like, if you like the Karate Kids, and it came from was there a thing called? No, I think it was YouTube. Like someone created it and made 2 seasons and put it on YouTube, and it got so popular.
Yeah.
They ended it after 2 seasons. Netflix bought it and brought it to Netflix. I think this is season 6, so they have 4 seasons on here. Then they're doing a movie after this.
Oh,
they're already filming it, or they might have filmed it already. But like it got a little silly towards the end of season 5, but like seasons 1 through 4, 5-ish.
I know Master Joe and my sister were really into it.
It's great.
They watched it with the kids and stuff, but I know that I don't know if it was season 4 or season 5. They said they had to stop letting the kids watch it because it got a little bit inappropriate.
Maybe it depends what they're talking about. Like season 5 had like some love interest now and this and that. Not anything of the sexual nature, but like they started having relationships and whatnot. And then like I don't know if it was 5 or the end of 4. Like someone almost dies and whatever. And I think someone dies in this season. Like so like whatever. But ultimately, it's like it's got good morals and principles. And like if you like the Karate Kids but don't remember them. Before you watch that, watch Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, then get into the show. Because they do a great job, especially in the first at least 3 seasons for what I remember. 4 if not 5. They do it in every season. Bringing back like flashbacks and old characters and bringing people around from the movies and just tying them into the show like seamlessly. Like it's not forced, right?
Right.
And it's great. And like... The only thing that gets tiresome in that show, especially now, like season 5 was really bad, is LaRusso and Johnny are like 2 sides of a coin, and they're both thick-headed, and they come from different pasts, and they just can't ever seem to work together. And it's just like over and over again, like they hate each other. Then, okay, we like each other a little bit, we work together. Now I hate you again. So that got a little boring. It's like, come up with something else, or like just... be friends now and have a different enemy or something like that. So I started watching season 6 that I got like an episode and a half in. I like where it's going so far. I know like I remember saying to to you, I guess, way back, like I was gonna wait because they had 3 parts of it. They dropped 5 episodes,
Right,
5 episodes last week,
right.
and then 5 episodes next year. But I had nothing else to watch because all these other shows we've been talking about aren't done yet, not even
Yeah.
close. So I need something to fill the gap.
That's what they seem to be doing now with all their shows, right? They drop 5, then drop another 5.
Yeah,
And
so
that's you know, that shows you too when a show is popular, it does well, and you know, they put out the seasons one after the other. They're not waiting the 2 years in between seasons and stuff, which is, I guess, good for people that enjoy those shows, you know?
yeah, absolutely, and they should do that. To be fair, you know what I mean? Like, why make
And
people
good
wait?
for the people that work on those shows too, right?
Yeah, 100%. And they're gonna make a movie on top of that, I guess, to finish it all off. So hopefully the show ends well and the movie does well, because I'll go see it. The only problem is if you haven't seen the show, you're gonna be lost with the movie. So a lot of it is banked on people watching this show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna go see the movie if you didn't watch the show.
Yeah.
You're not gonna know what the hell's going on. So I don't know. I guess that's all we got because we got no music today.
No.
Wonder is
No.
gone.
No.
So yeah, that's it, folks, for this week. I'm so happy the Jets are off this week. I won't have to be miserable this weekend watching football. And don't expect Juan Soto to sign anytime soon. And stop ignoring the rumors and all that stuff. And that's really it.
That's it.
All right, folks. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Take care. Take care.
Later. Oh, I guess not.